I gathered up some different supplies here in my home to create some really unique and different bird's nests. I have this sheet music here. When you're using sheet music, you want to make sure that there's lots of music notes and it's a nice sturdy paper. I also gathered up some scrap of yarn that I had. I'm sure a lot of us crafters have scraps of yarn around and some thread or trim. I thought this bag was perfect. I also decided to go outside, and this little guy wanted to come with me. I wanted to gather up some natural elements as well. He's so excited. Eat a burrito.
Rex. Cat.
Cute cat. So I brought everything upstairs my kitchen here, and I'm going to work on this nice large island counter. I have these beautiful branches. I think this is called Bridal Veil Spirea. I'm not 100% sure on that though. Anyways, it was really nice, and I thought it would be perfect to create some mini wreaths. So I'm going to create several different sizes. I just trimmed off any of the thick stem and removed that, and then just coiled all the smaller stems together to create like a mini wreath. I used wire to wrap it around and help to secure the whole bundle together. Now I created a few different sizes. So depending on how big you want your bird nest to be, you can create several different sizes of these wreaths, and we're going to be stacking them on top of each other to create a bird nest. So I think I ended up doing a total of 4 of the bird's nests, wreaths. Yes, there's 4 right here. And to attach them, you could use some wire if you'd like, but I decided to use some hot glue. Before I did that though, I needed to just make sure that my little mini wreaths weren't gonna come apart on me, so I just secured them a little bit more with some wire as needed. Some of them were coming apart, and I needed to make sure that they would hold together. Once I was happy with that, I decided to go in and add some hot glue, and then what you do is just put it on top of your other wreath, press it down and allow the glue to set. You may need to flip it over and add a bit more hot glue just to help bind it all together. I decided to add just a few more extra stems, and I wove those in and then added hot glue as needed. To fill in the center of the nest, I'm using hot glue and I'm putting some Spanish moss in the middle, and then using Spanish moss to hide any of the hot glue showing as well as any of the wires. I did use a tool to help just shove some of that moss in to create more of a natural look. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to show you a few other ideas, and then we're going to put everything together. Now I've got the grass that I had collected. This is really fun stuff, and I'm just bending it to help make it a bit more pliable. You could try soaking it in water, but my grass was nice and pliable, so I didn't need to do that. I'm just staggering or flipping 2 groups together, and because the stems are thicker on one end than the other, and I wanted a nice balanced look, you're just going to create a bit of a nest shape. And I should have done this next step first before I moved on to this, but you'll need some needle and thread. So I just set my nest aside. You can see it's actually holding together just fine. Once you've got your needle and thread all ready to go, you're going to start to stitch it through the middle, wrap it around the cluster of grass, and then you're going to tie a knot to secure it all together. Next, you're going to take your needle and you're going to weave it in and out of your nest to help hold your nest shape together. Now there's going to be one more step that we do to again help hold it all together, but this is step 1, and it really does work. So I'm going to just tie that off with a knot, and then I'll need to just kind of squish it and shape it a bit to create the nest that you like. If you feel like you need a bit more in the center like I do, I created another little cluster, and I didn't bother to use needle and thread on this. What I ended up doing was using some hot glue, and I generously applied some to the center of the main bird's nest, and then I just pushed all that excess grass into place. And then I'm going to again just kind of shape it a bit. I was really amazed at how well this grass was holding together. So I'm going to trim off any of the excess little bits. I didn't want those to be all over the place, but keeping a natural look. I placed my nest into a box and I sprayed it with some matte Mod Podge sealer. This will help to hold it all together. I have seen some people use some hairspray, but I had this on hand, so that's what I decided to use. I'm allowing that to dry. I'm back inside now, and I'm going to now create a nest using all those yarn scraps. I also have some thread scrap here and other sorted scraps such as this fabric. And this thread scrap is just from the edges of frayed fabric. I also have this jute twine scrap. And I decided I also wanted to actually use the fabric scrap. So I'm going to try and just tear it up, but I ended up cutting it into thin strips. And I tried to fray it a bit by pulling on the threads a little. And I also crumpled it in my hand, and that created a cool look. I'm using some fabric stiffener for this particular bird's nest. I wanted to try it out. I had this in my stash for a very, very long time. And well, it was clumpy, but I revived it by using some water. If you don't have fabric stiffener, then of course you could use something else like another glue, but I really wanted to try this out and see how it would be. You could maybe use some fabric starch. I think that would be a really cool thing to try as well. So I ended up diluting that thick consistency of the fabric stiffener with some water. Set that aside for now, and I'm going to build my nest shape at this point. So you're just going to gather up all your scraps and just layer it all together until you get a look that you're happy with. Next, I am going to then take my scraps and place it into my liquid. I'm going to press it down so it soaks it all up, flip it over and soak up the other side. I could have used a little bit more liquid, but I made do with what I had here. So I'm squeezing out the excess, and then just any spots that don't have any liquid, I went and put it back in and soaked it. So I'm just going to reshape it now. I'm going to put this over a bowl that's got some saran wrap on it, and then I'm going to put it on a vent that I have here in my home, and the air is going to allow it to help dry. I let it dry overnight. So for another option for bird's nest, you could use this paper shred that you can get for gift baskets, but I'm going to be using the sheet music that I got from my craft room. So I'm just going to tear some sheets out. You can see that there's lots of music notes. That is key because then you can really see the music notes in your projects. So once you got the desired number of sheets that you want, you can put it through your paper shredder. I've got a few different lengths here. I've got a bowl with some plastic wrap and some decoupage glue. So I'm going to mix 4 parts decoupage glue with 1 part water. That will help to create a bit more of a liquidy consistency. It just makes it easier to handle. So I'm going to mix that together, and then I'm going to try a few different ways to apply this to the bowl. So I started off applying some of the glue onto the bowl, and then I added some of the paper strips into the glue. You just want to make sure you don't have too much glue. So I put it in, and then I just removed any of the excess glue and I put it on top of the bowl. Next, I thought, you know what, I'm going to see if I can make the process a little bit faster here. And I put some of the dry strips right on top of the bowl and then went over it with some glue. Yeah, this didn't work that great either. So I found that putting it the paper directly into the glue and removing the excess worked the best. Once I had a good base, I'm now taking some of the strips and I'm crinkling it in my hand, placing it into the glue, removing the excess and piling it on top of the base that we had made. This looked really good. It worked so well to create a bit more of a natural bird's nest look. And I have to say, it's been a lot of fun too. Just a warning, this is a very, very messy project, as you can see. So these are both dry. I let them dry overnight. This one popped off so easy, but I did struggle with the paper. I'm not sure why, but I ended up having to take the plastic right off because it was not giving. So I used the plastic and I gently pulled it back until the plastic gave way off of the bowl. So another thought I had was to actually use paper mache, the flour mixture that you can make. I thought that would be actually a really good medium to use for a bird's nest as well. All right, so I finally got that loose. I removed the plastic. You can see it's still quite shiny inside. So you could apply another coat of some decoupage glue and let that dry, and that should take the shine away. I have these decoupage eggs and I shoved those in there, and these cute little eggs that I made. I'm going to show you how they all look with eggs in it, but I'm going to give you some other ideas on how you can use these bird's nests in a playlist coming up. I'm going to show you that shortly. So here are all the different bird's nests that we made today. You can use these for so many different things. I love using bird's nests in my home decor. Let me know which one is your favorite. I also would love to know the types of bird's nests that you make. I love to get so many different ideas from all of you. It really helps me to create content that you would all absolutely love to see. So now what to do with all those bird's nests? Here is the playlist with all the different ideas on how you can use bird's nests in your projects for your home decor. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.